everybody, I'm Lisa Rowberry. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is so long overdue. I actually didn't even realize how overdue it was until I just looked back on my previous videos for hysterectomy updates, and we didn't even do a 1-year post-op update check-in with you at all. Now here we are, almost 2 years post-op from my total hysterectomy, and I know that I definitely wanted to do this video. If there's no real updates to give, then these updates will just die off, but I do hope that it's helpful, and I have experienced recently some changes that just didn't occur to me were going to happen. So I was like, you know what? While there's not a ton to share, there were some questions and stuff that came in the last video, which was, I'm embarrassed to say, 4 months post-op. So while those questions may not help those particular people anymore, maybe it can help help someone that may be going through the same process right now. So just a little bit about me. So I had a total hysterectomy. I should probably preface by saying, my doctor, my surgeon did tell me the difference, the different stages of hysterectomies. My doctor said that what I had was a total hysterectomy. I've had a lot of people say that's not what I had. I do still have my ovaries, but what my doctor said is if you take out everything, your uterus, your ovaries, your tubes, your cervix, your all of the things down there, all of your lady baby making parts, that's a radical hysterectomy. That's just what my doctor, the medical professional that I was seeing, the medical offices that I was going to at the time, those were the terms that they used, so that's why I use them. But all of that to say, they took everything except my ovaries. So I do still have my ovaries. So however you want to word that, that's what I had. I had that done December 21st, 2021. Here we are almost 2 years later, which is so crazy to me. And on one hand, it feels like I just had the surgery done, and on another hand, it feels like it's been forever. And absolutely, still to this day, 2 years later, it is absolutely the best decision that I have ever made for myself, and I really wish I would have pushed for this much sooner than I actually had. A little bit of backstory. In case you don't know my backstory, I will go ahead and put a card up here on the screen. I have a playlist. It's a short playlist, not to worry. There's only a couple of videos just sharing kind of in real time of the pain and the struggles that I was dealing with, kind of some of the preparation that I was doing leading up to the surgery, and then as well as in real time recovery during and after the surgery. And then just 1 or 2 check-ins after that. And then now here we are 2 years later. So if you want to see the in real time stuff, I will link that full playlist down below in the description. I'll also put a card up here on the screen for you to check out. But just a little bit of backstory for this update. I had really bad periods. I do have endometriosis. It's so funny for me to say I do have, because a lot of people, in my mind, I feel like once you remove the uterus, you don't have it anymore, but you do still have endometriosis even if you do remove those parts. It's the scarring. You don't ever get rid of it, unfortunately. They can go in and help remove the scarring and things like that, but just because you have the surgery doesn't mean it's completely gone. So I have endometriosis. I had incredibly excruciatingly painful periods. I have had painful periods since I was in high school. I will always remember my mom saying oh, I'm so sorry that you're having to deal with these cramping. And my mom went through lots of different surgeries for her pain as well. She had ablations done. She had all kinds of she actually had a surgery done that was it was an experimental surgery to help things, and that failed. She had an ablation that failed. So she was very familiar with having the painful periods, and she would just tell me I'm so sorry that you have to deal with this, and I'm sorry that I passed this on to you. And I just in my mind, because I've only ever experienced painful periods, I just assume that's just how we live. That's just the cards that we were dealt as women, and that's just what we have to deal with. And so it never really occurred to me to fight for a solution sooner. I had really long periods and they were excruciatingly painful. There wouldn't be like a month that would go by that I wouldn't need ibuprofen or Tylenol. Like I needed something to help me get through those cycles. It was awful. Fast forward several years, I met the love of my life and we got married, and we decided together that we decided not to have children. And my husband was first to have his vasectomy. He's like, you know what, let's just go ahead and take care of my situation on my end, and then you can take care of your body whenever you want to. But he said, for me, I know I never want to have kids, so I'm going to go ahead and get the vasectomy. I was pretty confident in that too, so we were good. We were on the same page there. And I just continually had these terrible periods. Now, for a while before he had his vasectomy, I was on birth control, and when you're on birth control, it helps things significantly. Obviously, your periods are pretty regulated because you are on those pills, and so you know exactly when you're going to be on your period, depending on the type of pill you're on. You know exactly when you're going to be on your period, you know exactly when you're going to stop, and the pain wasn't too bad. So birth control was fine, but you really shouldn't be on birth control for like a super long period of time, like your entire life. I mean, for some people, maybe it works for them, but I wasn't super keen on the idea of just being on birth control for my entire life. And after my husband had his vasectomy and we got the all clear there, I didn't need to be on it anymore. So, and I know I had gone from pills to an IUD, and the IUD was kind of a nightmare too. Whenever it would be placed, I would almost always have like a pass out situation right after it was placed. And then removal was terrible as well. It was just, everything down there was so painful, right? So it just got to a point where my periods were getting worse and worse and worse as each month was going on. And it got to the point where my husband just told me, he's like, this isn't good. Like, this isn't right. You shouldn't have to live like this. And we're not going to have kids. So maybe you should think about having a hysterectomy. Maybe, you know, he's so incredibly supportive, and he was never like, you need to have it done. Like, you know, this was definitely something that was fully on me, but he was 100% supportive the entire time, and just was like, you shouldn't be living in this much pain. Like you just shouldn't. Like, I wasn't able to keep food down because of how much pain I was in. So therefore I wasn't able to take the over-the-counter medications to help me manage the pain. It just was a nightmare. So finally I had enough and went to my OBGYN and asked, what can we do? And I will always remember going in to that appointment, and I was at my breaking point. I was 100% at my breaking point, and I will remember the nurse who took me back initially asked what I was there for. I let her know that these periods were just too bad and I couldn't take them anymore, so I wanted to discuss the options. And I will always remember the look on that nurse's face when I told her, and she was very snotty, and I was clearly upset and distraught. And she was like, had this attitude and just said, he's just going to prescribe you birth control pills. And I just thought, oh my God. And I just started bawling. Like, I lost it. I was bawling because in my mind, I just didn't think I was going to be able to live through another period. And sure, birth control, whatever, but I'm like, that's not the solution. Like, that is not the solution here. And I just thought, great, I'm going to have to fight for this. And to be totally honest, I don't have the fight in me. I was too tired. I was in pain all the time, and that's exhausting. And I just didn't have the fight. I just was like, I can't do this. My doctor comes in. He was my doctor for a really, really long time. And so he comes in to a hot mess express, and I'm just like, I can't do this. And he was just like, hold on. Okay. I was hysterical, and that was COVID time. So that was really fun because I was wearing a mask. So I'm hyperventilating in my mask, and like I said, I was a hot mess. So he sat me down. We went through the different options that I had. He did let me know, okay, we can do an ablation. First of all, we can put you on birth control. So that he said, no matter what, when you leave here today, you're going to be on birth control, because I told him I cannot go through another period the way I have been the last however many months. And he's just like, okay, no matter what, when you leave here, if you have to think about what route you want to go, you're going to leave here on birth control. So that way it can start to be regulated. Okay, great. whatever. So then he says, or you can stay on that forever. The next option after that was a uterine ablation, and look up all the details on that. I am not a professional, and I didn't have the procedure done, but I did, at the time, I did look up what the success rates were and kind of just to do my research on what the whole process is. And my doctor did sit me down. This was, over 2 years ago at this point, so I don't remember all the details, but he did sit me down and describe what the procedure was. And I will always remember, he did tell me I would be awake for it while the ablation was being done. And it's just like, it's outpatient because it's not a surgery, but you best knock me out if you're going to be all up in my business, burning my uterine lining. I'm not going to be awake for that. And then to be awake for it, and the failure rate is fairly high. So I was just like, yeah, no, that does not sound like a good time at all. At all. So I'm like, if we have to go through this ablation process and see if it's going to be a success or not, the failure rate's fairly high. So when and if it does fail, then we have to wait however many months, and then we can do the hysterectomy. So why don't we just skip all of this messiness in between and just do the hysterectomy and be done with it? My doctor was like, sounds good. He's like, all right. They just have to give you those options, right? It's your choice. It's your body. You have to be the one to know all of your options and make the decision for yourself. So I knew I wanted to have it done. This was in COVID time, and these surgeries were out several months at that point. So I saw him in June, and I didn't get a call until November that they were ready to see me in December and do the surgery. And I was just like, oh, hallelujah. I was so happy. I knew that this was the right decision for me. I had been doing all kinds of research, and I was looking forward to it so much because birth control was not working for me. I was on 2 or 3 different birth control pills just in those few months, because the birth control pills that I was initially on, I didn't stop bleeding. Like, I started the pills and I didn't stop bleeding. The pain was gone, but the bleeding never stopped. And I was just like, are you kidding me? So then I tried another pill, and the bleeding was finally under control, but then the cramping was back. Tried another pill. It was a mess. And I was just like, just whatever. So finally we found something that worked. I gained some weight on that pill, but I was able to manage the situation I had going on down here until I was able to go and get my surgery done. So got the call, got the surgery, and like I said, definitely check out those videos on my in real time recovery. But my recovery was really pretty easy. And I'm just speaking from my own personal experience. I know everybody's different. My surgery was outpatient. I did not stay in the hospital. The gas pains were real for sure. But once they passed, it was pretty good. I think the hardest part is that because of how much pain I was in every single day, coming out of surgery, I was in better shape than I went into surgery. On recovery, I didn't need anything more than ibuprofen. I did not need anything more than that. I will always remember leaving the hospital feeling stone cold sober, not loopy from the anesthetic or the anesthesia. I'm sure it was still running through my body and stuff, but I was just feeling stone cold sober, ready to do some cartwheels. My husband has an F-250 that's a little bit lifted, and we were kind of concerned because I have a Mustang. So we were like, okay, so when you come pick me up, should I be in the lifted truck or should I be in the lower Mustang and try to figure out how to lift myself out? Well, they don't want you really using your stomach muscles very much after surgery, so we opted for the truck, and I just hippity hopped right up in there. And even the nurse was like, she's feeling real good. She's like, I haven't seen many patients just be like, all right, let's go, let's do this. I felt great. I felt fantastic after surgery. And I think that's the hardest part, because you do feel so good for the most part. Not everybody's different, but that I feel for me, that was the hardest part, because I felt amazing. For the first time in so many years, I was living without pain. And it was not until I had my surgery that I really realized I was living with pain daily. daily. And it was beyond the endometriosis. I had an enormous fibroid that was on my uterus, and so that contributed to it as well. But I just didn't realize how much pain I was in on a daily basis until I wasn't. And I will always remember that. So if you see me looking down, I made like just a couple of little notes because I wanted to like not forget a few things. And then we're going to turn it into like a Q&A style because, there were some questions that came in on the last update. So a lot of people ask about weight gain, and I can tell you now, I actually today, and you may argue with me, but my weight has distributed a little bit differently right now. I am weighing the exact same today as I did when I went into surgery. So I know that because we're back in the gym now. So like I did like a baseline and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I actually haven't gained weight, even though I feel like I've gained weight. It's just like my weight is like just kind of, I don't know, being redistributed or something. I don't know. I have no idea. But so I haven't had necessarily issues with necessarily like actual weight gain, like from the scale, but I do notice that I'm having some gut issues, and this has nothing to do with the hysterectomy. I have had all kinds of tests and stuff done for GI. I've had an endoscopy, colonoscopy, had all kinds of tests and stuff done for my GI issues. That has absolutely nothing to do with the hysterectomy. And that was something that I was kind of talking to my doctor about here. I'm like, do I need to have my hormones tested? I still have my ovaries, so I don't know. I don't know if this has something to do with that. And I did ask about testing hormones, and they said it's really hard to test hormones because your hormones change about 75 million times a day. So when you wake up in the morning, you can have your hormones tested, and a few hours later, you can have your hormones tested again, and it'll be a totally different reading. So while people can do hormone testing to see if you're like significantly deficient in something, you can do that. But my doctor now is just saying like it's not really going to do us any good. I don't think this is the issue, so let's address the GI issues. So that's kind of where we're at with that. Now let's go ahead and talk about the most recent happenings, I guess we can say. The whole reason why I kind of wanted to do this update, because it was just kind of out of my mind that this would even ever be a thing anymore. Ovarian cysts. I have had another run-in with ovarian cysts. I used to get them all the time, both when I was on birth control pills as well as when I had the IUDs in. I would get them all the dang time. They would rupture and they are so incredibly painful. Once I wasn't on, at any time I wasn't on birth control of any kind, my ovarian cyst issues went way down. I'm not on any birth control. There's literally no need for it. But as long as you have your ovaries and you are still ovulating, you can still get those ovarian cysts. And recently I was noticing some cramping, and I was just like, oh, I don't know, that's weird. Maybe it's just gas pain or something. So I just kind of ignored it for the day. I was just going about my business. And then it just hit me like a ton of bricks, and it was like my whole lower abdomen I was in so much pain that I hadn't felt in years. And I was doubled over. It was hard to breathe. I could barely speak straight. I went to the emergency room and did all kinds of tests and everything. It was more tender on my right side, so they were like, jump to it in case it was like appendicitis or what have you. And did some tests and everything. So did find out it was an ovarian cyst that had ruptured. And so I was like, I thought I was done with those. So that would be the only like negative thing I would say in this update. And it's not negative. Like it just is what it is. If this becomes a regular thing where I start to have the cysts more frequently again, maybe I would consider having the ovaries out. But if my ovaries are doing more good than harm, then I'm happy to keep them. But if I don't want to live I'm so past the point of being okay with living in pain anymore that I'm just not here for it. I know a lot of people ask about the scarring. So my surgery was done laparoscopically, so I had 3, and this is going to vary depending on what machine is used and where you have it done and all of this, but I had 3 incisions. I know some people have 4, some people have 5 incisions. They're teeny tiny incisions. One is inside of my belly button, and then I have 2 that are honestly just like at my hip bones. They are faded excuse me, so much I honestly can't even see them anymore. I cannot see them at all anymore. I was just looking the other day and I'm like, I know that they're there. Like I know what area they're in, but I could wear a bikini, not that I would want to, but like I could easily just wear a bikini and you would never know. Like you would never know. Like they're so teeny tiny. I was not worried about the scarring at all. I just thought, if you are gonna make me feel better, I don't care if you cut me from my chin to my belly button. Like I do not care. Like it's totally fine. I just want to feel better. But my scarring is totally minimal, and at this point has faded to be basically non-existent. So I am here for that. Okay, now let's go ahead and jump over to some questions that came in for the last update that was, oh my gosh, so long ago. It was for the 4-month post-op update. Okay, so the first question that was asked at my 4-month post-op video, and by the way, I think going forward what I may do, instead of doing like yearly updates, if there's questions that come in on these videos over time, I mean, this video from a year ago has comments that came in and questions that came in as soon as like a month ago. So those videos still get comments and questions. So I think as comments and questions come in, I think going forward, instead of like update videos, because really the only update I gave you today was just that you can still get ovarian cysts. if you have your ovaries and you're ovulating, that was really the only like change. I'm still feeling fantastic, but everything else that is going to be addressed are from questions. So I think what I'll do are like hysterectomy update / Q&A type videos. So just figured I'd note that. So this question that came in says, can you make another video of costs from like start to finish from the hysterectomy, like start from day 1 to the very last, like I'm assuming like the very last post-op appointment. My total cost, and this I will say, so I moved here to Idaho from California, and in California we had Kaiser. Not everyone loves Kaiser. I love Kaiser. My husband and I have always loved Kaiser. Kaiser, I think, is a fantastic hospital, and I love their insurance. Everything was so straightforward. Now that we live here and we buy our own insurance, it's a poop show. I can tell you exactly how much. If I were to have my hysterectomy here with the insurance I have now, I'd have to look up like all of the receipts and the paperwork and all of that, but I can just tell you off of memory, it was $40. My hysterectomy was $40 start to finish. It was $20 for my first appointment to have my like consult. Okay, so maybe 60. Yeah, we'll go with 60. It was $60 because my first initial appointment to ask for the hysterectomy, so $20 there, because it was a $20 copay every single time that I would see. But if it was a post-op appointment, I didn't have to pay my $20 copay. So $20 for the first initial appointment where I said, I'm done, I can't do this anymore. And then my pre-op appointment, $20 there. And then the day of surgery, $20 there. So $60, and then I had 3 post-op appointments, and those were no charge. I miss Kaiser so much. Now dealing with all of these GI issues, I can basically look in the direction of the hospital and I'm getting a medical bill. We've got really good insurance. That's the crazy thing. Like we got the best possible insurance we can get for being self-employed, and yeah, like there's medical bills that come in all the time, and I don't even question it. I'm just like, I have no idea if this is from an ER visit. I have no idea if this was from a procedure. I have no idea if this was from the specialist. I have no idea. So I just pay it. I'm just like, I have no idea what this is from. So yeah, I would say $60 start to finish for the hysterectomy. Best deal ever. But honest and truly, like all of that aside, like even if it was today with my current insurance, and even if they were to tell me it would cost me $10,000 to have it done, that is worth it to not live in pain for me. Like they'll take payments, like look into different payment plans and stuff. Look into, I know there's care credit, whatever you can do. It's so worth it to make payments or do what you can financially to not live in pain, because you don't have to live in pain. Okay, let me see here. So the next question is, do you remember if your stitches were fully healed at your 6-week post-op appointment? Just curious. I do remember that it was either 6 or 8 week post-op. I think it was 6 weeks post-op, because that's when you can, when you are free and clear to have intercourse. And yeah, I went and everything looked good. We still gave it a couple more weeks, Sean and I did, because I just was scared. And I think the vast majority of people who go through a hysterectomy, like the first time you have sex again, you're like, oh, I'm so scared. Don't break anything. So we still waited like an additional like week or two after that, but I was all cleared at 6 weeks. Let me see here. So the next one says, when did you feel like a human again? I'm 2 weeks out and it's awful. That's really going to depend on each person. So I know it can be different for someone who had a radical hysterectomy and had everything removed, because a lot of people, this is not everyone, but a lot of people are automatically in menopause, like instant menopause the minute you come out of surgery, and your body doesn't know what to do, right? Like you're missing the hormones. You have to then go through hormone replacement therapy, and you have to kind of like figure out what that balance is. So that can be a very emotional thing. I am not on hormone replacement therapy. From what my doctors think, I'm getting enough hormones from my ovaries that I don't need that. But this is a big thing, you guys. Like, having a hysterectomy, you are having an organ removed from your body. Like, it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. It takes a lot for your body to kind of adjust. It takes a lot for your body to recover. And if you are having those hormone imbalances, it's a lot to go through. And if this is a situation where maybe this wasn't something that was your choice, maybe this was something that you had to get done, that's a very emotional thing. And, you know, for some people, it's a very emotional thing, because like, this is so final. Like, you will not bury your own children after this. So that can be a very emotional thing. For me, I never had any type of sadness or anything afterwards. I'm thankful for that, because I know that that's a very real thing. But I think if you are not feeling like yourself, I definitely think it's worth reaching out to your doctor about and just say, hey, I'm not feeling right. Like, I'm feeling kind of off. Can you help me out here? Give me some pointers. Definitely reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out to your doctors, because that's what they're there for, and they're used to this sort of thing. If it could be something that you are just kind of, you're going cabin fever and you're like, I need to get out of the house. Maybe just take a super, super short, easy walk. Just like, either if you've got a backyard, maybe just do a lap around your backyard, get that sunshine. Walk down to your mailbox, go get the mail, get that sunshine, just something super low key, but just doing something like that, like getting out of the house and getting some fresh air, sometimes that alone can be a mood booster as well. If nothing else, watch a good funny movie or something. So, but if you are feeling down and feeling off, definitely reach out to your doctor for sure. Let's see here. And so the next question is, hi, how have your hormones been due to still having your ovaries? Do you still feel like your PMS symptoms are once a month? Yes. So that is the strangest thing about after you have had a hysterectomy, and if you still have your ovaries, I'm only speaking from personal experience, so I don't know, I can't speak on behalf of people who have had the radical and had everything removed. I still have PMS. It's the strangest thing, because you know how, like, for me, I had the PMS before, and it's like, okay, and then I would immediately start cramping, and I would even know the exact day I would start because of the amount of cramping and stuff I would have before actually bleeding. But yeah, the PMS, mood swings, if you will. I'm fairly even keel, I would say, but yeah, there are definitely like certain times in the month where I'm like, everything is just getting to me, or I'm super emotional, or I'm extra hungry. Like all of that is still like, that's still a thing, which is so strange. So yeah, I still feel those PMS symptoms just without the bleeding. I feel like not a lot of people talk about that. So I'm really glad that you asked that. It is definitely still a thing. So it's just crazy because you don't have the bleeding to follow up with it. So okay, next question, which was super great, is how long would you say it was helpful to have Sean home with you? I believe he was home. I believe he was home for 1 week. That was fine. Like that was totally fine. I do know that I did overdid it. I did like overdo it one day. I think I was like vacuuming or doing dishes or something, just because I felt really good. Not that like I had to do it. Like it was just, I felt really good and I wanted to get up and do something. And that was overdoing it. So, and I knew that because I started spotting. I started like kind of cramping and stuff. So listen to your body. If you're going through this surgery, listen to your body. Do not overdo it. You're going to feel better before you're better. So take the help. I would say 1 week is good because you really do need the help. You need the help with just simple everyday tasks that you don't think is a big deal. For us, we've got 2 dogs, so like making sure that they're fed and that they go out and all of that stuff, like doing those just everyday things, even though it's very simple, can make you very, very tired very quickly. For me, I did have a higher risk of having a blood clot, so Sean was on top of me to make sure I was walking around and doing my like laps in the house. We had a 2-story house at the time, so I would just do laps around the downstairs of the house. I slept downstairs on the couch just the first night after surgery. It was outpatient, so I was home that same night. A lot of people had said like, don't climb the stairs, don't climb the stairs. I felt fine. And my doctor said, if you feel okay, you can go up the stairs. If you don't feel okay, don't go up the stairs. Like that was my surgeon's thing, was if your body says don't do it, then don't do it. Like if you feel like you can go up there, do it, but don't push yourself. If you feel like you can't make it up the stairs, stay downstairs. So I felt fine. Honestly, I felt fine that first night, but I just thought, let me just play it safe and just stay on the couch. So I did that. So it was just nice to have Sean there to make sure, like to help me make sure I was doing my walks. And I definitely needed his help with like showers and things like that. So that was definitely helpful. So I think 1 week is fine. I don't think you need more than that. Still, beyond that first week, you are still going to need to really take it easy though. But as far as like really needing someone there to help you, I think 1 week would be fine. But definitely ask your doctor too. So next one is, hello, I'm supposed to have the same exact surgery next week, and I was wanting to know how often did you wear your abdominal binder? I've never used an abdominal binder before, so I was wanting to hear another person's experience from using one. I loved it. I absolutely loved that thing. There was just something about it that I felt very secure in it, and it just felt like everything was being held together nice and tight and snug. And so that, I really liked it. I wore it for a couple of weeks. And it was super, super cozy and comfortable. I enjoyed it. So definitely highly recommend abdominal binder. Okay, next one says 8 weeks later and still no internal exam. My external scars look good, minus my belly button. My surgeon says my pain tenderness is scarring from being mostly alone during my recovery. I'm terrified of sexual activity now. How do you get over the fear and lack of libido? Any tips? Again, everybody's different, but I don't have a lack of libido. I think if anything, I feel like post-surgery, it's higher, I guess you could say. Just because sex is no longer painful. It's no longer painful for me. I really enjoy it. We enjoy it. And so I would say it's even better. So that's me. I think I can definitely see why that is a concern for people, but you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And I feel like for the most part, like our sex life is even better, I would say. I enjoy it, so hopefully he enjoys it too. Okay, and next question says, did your husband ever mention if sex feels different to him? This is my biggest anxiety before surgery. How do they feel the absence of the cervix and miss it? Does he feel the absence of the cervix and miss it? No. At least if he's being honest with me, which I think he is. We are very open and honest with each other, and even if it's like not the ideal situation, like I think he would totally tell me. And yeah, no, he doesn't miss it. He doesn't miss it. But he did, I did ask him. I will always remember like the first couple times that we had sex after my hysterectomy. I remember asking him, like, does it feel different? Does it feel weird? Does it feel like I'm missing something? And he's like, no, like that's really weird. So, you know, and again, everyone's different. I haven't had children. I don't know if that makes a difference. I don't have my cervix. I don't have a uterus. I literally only have my ovaries, and he says everything still feels and works great. So, and everything still feels and works. Actually, things now feel and work great for me. So, but yeah, as far as my husband goes, he has zero complaints whatsoever. So the next one kind of shares her experience here, and also says, so I'm 3 months post-op. When I go pee, I feel cramping while I'm peeing. Does anyone else, has anyone else experienced it or gone through this? I have not. If you have, maybe leave a comment down below in the comment section. I have never felt any cramping while peeing. I know right after surgery, I had to pee like a racehorse. That was the first thing I thought. The minute I like really came to, it was like, oh Nelly, I gotta pee real bad. And the nurse that was with me, she's like, oh, hi, how you feeling? I'm like, I gotta pee real bad. She's just like, okay. And I know I've told this story probably 700 times just in this series, but she rolled up a towel and like stuck it in between my legs and was like, here, go pee. I'm like, who can pee laying down on a towel? Like, if you can, like, high five, sis. I was like, not, I was not. I was like, my bladder's real full. I was like, and I cannot pee. And she was like, okay, well, do you think you can get up? I'm like, girl, I can do cartwheels. Like, I felt so good after surgery. I'm like, I can do cartwheels to the bathroom. So I remember she walked me to the bathroom, and just habit, like, I turn around, I lock the door, and she's like, she's pounding. She was like pounding on the door. She's like, no, you cannot lock the door. I'm like, oh, my bad. So I was able to relieve myself, thankfully, and everything was good. But that was the only thing after having it. But no, I haven't had any cramping. So if you, from your experience, if you have had cramping or anything, definitely leave a comment. Let us know what your experience is. But for my advice to you would be anything that's abnormal or doesn't feel quite right or doesn't seem quite right, definitely reach out to your doctor. No questions asked. Okay, and next one is, oh my goodness, I'm day 5 post-op tonight. So tired of being sore and tired, like you mentioned in a prior video. Oh my goodness, getting cabin fever, but hanging in there. Yeah, I feel like, I know I'm like painting this to be all like rainbows and butterflies right after surgery. I remember feeling great after surgery, but then it was like, okay, I'm sore and tired and bloated. I'm sore and tired and bloated. And it does get to be too much, like where you're tired of being sore, tired and bloated. I promise you, you're gonna be okay. Like, you're gonna get through this. I know when you're in the moment, you're like, I'm never gonna feel normal again. I promise you, you're going to feel normal again. And yeah, as far as the cabin fever, I remember that as well. Just, if you can take just a little walk, if you've got a backyard, just take a little walk in your backyard. Just very, very simple, very easy. If you don't have a backyard, just take a trip down to the mailbox. Maybe just get some fresh air, but don't do too much. Okay, next one is, did you do a 12-month post-surgery update? I honestly thought I did. I really thought I did. So I looked at my playlist and I saw that the most recent one was 4 months post-op. And I'm like, no, maybe I just forgot to add it to the playlist. So I actually searched my whole channel and I never did a 1-year post-op. So I'm fired. So that's why I think going forward, we'll just do these like hysterectomy update Q&A style videos, because I think that'll be easier for me to like keep track. We'll see. Let's see here. Okay, next one, 3 months post-op and still down above my umbilical area, had Da Vinci total hysterectomy, really had no pain after surgery, only needed Motrin, but how long did the swelling last for you? I feel like the swelling lasted a few months. Like the swelling lasted a few months. I could always tell, like when I was able to like kind of resume normal like daily activities, I was able to go back to the gym. At that point, it was, okay, now get ready to move out of state, which was so insane. I cannot believe that we did that. But you know, packing up your house and getting your house ready for selling and things like that. Like I could tell when I was doing too much because I would start to swell. So that was a few months, and then it just eventually just goes away. So it takes a few months, but you'll be okay. Again, you feel like you're never going to be the same, but you will get through it, and you will be not only the same, you will be better than you were before. Okay, next one. Lisa, did you have pelvic floor physical therapy during your recovery? Thanks for sharing your journey with us. Thank you for watching. I did not, and it wasn't necessarily recommended. I don't see why it wouldn't be recommended. Pelvic floor therapy is really, really good for you. I just haven't done it, but there are actually, I've looked into it. There's a ton of super helpful videos here on YouTube. If I can remember, I will link a few videos that I have seen. I haven't actually done any of this. I think I maybe have done them like once or twice, but not enough to say, yes, I have done pelvic floor therapy. No, I haven't. I've done a couple of exercises, but the videos that I have found, I'll link those down below, but definitely, again, reach out to your doctor and ask about this. But there's a lot of really helpful videos here on YouTube as well, explaining pelvic floor therapy and the benefits and all of that good stuff. So, okay, and next one. I have my hysterectomy next week, and I have a question. After the operation, do we have to be in pads for a while for all the fluids to drain out? If yes, how long did it take in your case? Thank you in advance. So it was the strangest thing. I went into surgery on my period. I came out not on my period because there was nothing left in there. But I was in pads. So I was in pads for just a couple of days and really didn't need it. Like I had some spotting, but I really didn't, like I said, I went into surgery bleeding heavier than coming out of surgery, which is just so, it's the strangest thing. But yeah, it was just a couple of days. Like I really didn't need to buy multiple packs of pads or anything like that. If you are bleeding enough to actually soak a pad, and your doctor will tell you, if you're bleeding enough to soak a pad, you need to go to the emergency room. That is not something to joke around with. So if you are soaking a pad, you do need to go into the emergency room. I think that's pretty uncommon, but just, you know, listen to your doctors. If you're soaking through a pad, it should just be spotting when you're leaving surgery. Okay, and next one, thanks for your videos and sharing your journey. I'm preparing for surgery next week, and your video has helped my anxiety. I am so happy. I'm so happy. Do you remember how long after your surgery you were able to sleep on your tummy again? So I am a stomach sleeper, and that was, gosh, both like major surgeries that I've had impacted my stomach sleeping. I've had a breast reduction and a hysterectomy. And yeah, it's tough. It's tough going. And that's another thing, like when you're in the moment, you're like, I'm never going to be able to sleep on my stomach again. It was a couple weeks. Like it wasn't like months. I think for my breast reduction, it was like a few months, but for the hysterectomy, it was just a couple weeks. And I will always remember that I just kind of like started easing onto my stomach. Like I was starting to get better sleep, and I would just like naturally like want to roll over, and then I would roll over and it would be kind of tender. So I'd wake up, oh no, and then turn back over. Just listen to your body. If you start to roll over and it doesn't feel comfortable, if it hurts, then turn over. That's your body saying, don't do that. So I think it was just a couple weeks. Okay, next one. I had a hysterectomy almost 4 weeks ago and still recovering. I went to a 3-week follow-up, and the doctor had to clean the vaginal cuff and put some silver nitrate. That was painful. I have heard that's really painful. I'm very, very lucky that I did not have to have that done. My surgeon did give me a heads up that that could be a possibility to be done. So she said, take some ibuprofen before you come to this appointment, because if I have to use it, it's uncomfortable. So I'm sorry, friend. The only thing that has me worried is that I still have very light bleeding. Did you have any? And if you did, how long did it last? I'm hoping that it stops soon. I have another follow-up this week coming up and hoping I'm healing better. Again, talk to your doctor. If your doctor says after you have the silver nitrate put on to clean things up, if the spotting is normal, then, definitely, just keep an eye on it. But if there's anything that you feel like, if you're questioning it, contact your doctor. That's always my thing. If I'm going to question it, I'm going to question my doctor for sure. So, I didn't have that cleanup procedure done. So it really was like I think it was only like the night that I had the surgery, I had the pad in, and like a day or two after to have a pad just in case. But I really only had a little bit of spotting the night I came home from surgery. After that, there really wasn't any bleeding. So again, listen to your body, listen to your doctors. If there's something that feels off, contact your doctor for sure. So that is it. That is all of the update I have for you 2 years post hysterectomy. Again, this is the best decision I ever could have made for myself. If you are just in the beginning phases of looking at potentially having a hysterectomy done, doing your research, definitely do your research, talk to your doctors, see if this is the right fit for you. I can just tell you, if this is something that you really want to have done, push for yourself, get it done. You deserve to live a pain-free life, and I can tell you I'm living my very best life now, and I'm so happy I had it done. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you like this type of content. If you're new, please subscribe. If you already subscribed, be sure to hit the notification bell. That way you stay up to date with everything I've got going on here on my channel. Like I said, this will be the last yearly update. I think just going forward, it'll be like a hysterectomy update followed with a Q&A. So if you have questions, definitely feel free to reach out. I'm a total open book, and I'm happy to help just share my experiences with you guys. Have an amazing day, you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, friends.